It's AM 650 KGAB Radio. My name is Glenn Woods. Thanks for joining me. Guest in the studio is Debbie Heron.
Heron, just like the bird,
Okay,
but
just
with
like the
R's.
bird. Okay, with 2 R's. Okay, got to be careful. I say this to people all the time. I don't care if your name is Smith. What if you pronounce it Smythe? You never know, so I have to be careful every single time. So you work for Walmart, the evil Walmart Corporation, huh?
Well, I'd counter and say that we're the great Walmart corporation that employs 4,602 people in the state of Wyoming.
Yeah, including that distribution center over there where somebody wants to make a really nice wage. It's actually, it pays really well. In fact, the manager of the Walmart distribution center called here one time because I was talking about wages, and he called and said, speaking of which, we're hiring. So, yeah, it employs a lot of people around here. State of Wyoming, though, wants to, well, at least the House of Representatives is moving on to the Senate now, wants a corporate income tax, but only on those big, rich, evil companies, just a few big ones like Walmart out there. So you're here to speak about that. What is wrong with a income tax on just the biggest corporations?
Well, good morning, Glenn, and good morning, listeners. I'm happy to be here. Walmart has been a part of Wyoming's fabric for 30 years. We opened our first store in Natrona County about 30 years ago. As you heard me say, we employ 4,602 people across the state, pay great wages that are significantly higher than the federal minimum and even most state minimums. But to answer your question, and it does seem like the legislature, or at least the House, has passed this corporate income tax. It's really unusual. The bill as written identifies 3 what are called NAICS codes. So every company has this code that says you're this kind of industry. And those 3 codes target food service, retail, and lodging. No other state in the country has a corporate income tax that only applies to those 3 NAICS codes. We would also offer that the bill as written somewhat distorts the level playing field that most of retail, food service, and lodging currently operate on in the state of Wyoming. It creates a distinction between companies that have shareholders and companies that don't, giving a competitive advantage to those companies that don't have shareholders. So our real objection is with that distortion, with the discriminatory nature that the bill is written.
Okay, and another point of view I've gotten from some callers, well, and myself too, is so that's the camel's nose in the tent because it starts with Walmart. Let's come back in about 15 or 20 years and find out who else is being taxed by something like this. Have you ever a chance to take a real good look at the way they've written this code to find out exactly how is Walmart affected? In other words, when you look at other states and how they tax you and how the state of Wyoming does it, is there anything unusual about how Wyoming is affected compared to other businesses?
Yeah, well, just on the basis of identifying those 3 NAICS codes, that is unusual.
Okay.
No other state does that. No other state offers a corporate income tax credit. That doesn't exist in corporate income tax. So I think there's been some discussion about any taxpayer that would be affected by this corporate income tax in Wyoming would be able to write that off in another state. And that's just simply not the case. At least not the case for Walmart. I can't speak for other companies, but I can speak for Walmart. And this would be a new corporate income tax in a state that historically hasn't had that.
Other states, do you have, what region do you handle?
Great question. Thanks for asking, Glenn. I handle the Northwest, so I am between the capitals of Anchorage, Boise, Salem, Olympia, and Cheyenne.
Okay, because I read a story a while ago that it talked about around the country, how states around the country are reducing their corporate income taxes or eliminating it altogether. Yet here in the state of Wyoming, we're trying to add one. And so have you come across an article like that as well? Or have you come across other states that are actually trying to get more competitive in this way?
Yes. Tax reform is a big conversation in a lot of states. There are states that are examining their entire corporate income structure, as you've said. And typically that's a 2-3 year process. And tax policy is complex and it's nuanced, and it treats, even within an industry like retail, we all have different models of doing our business. Walmart's promise to our customers is everyday low price. That means that our model looks a little different than some of the other retailers you would find in Wyoming. But states are really examining corporate income tax, and I think that you're accurate in saying that many are moving away from a corporate income tax, and also there's an idea about throwback rules, that there's a benefit to Walmart or other companies that other states offer. And for Walmart, I can say also that's simply just not the case. We do not benefit from any throwback rule. And my understanding is many states are looking at repealing those rules as well.
Does this affect how, and I know Wyoming population-wise is a small state. How many Walmarts are here?
There are 12 Walmarts, 2 Sam's Club, and the distribution center, as you said.
And I have a Sam's Club card, by the way. So,
well, thank you very much.
No, I go there all the time and just bulk up on stuff. So would this affect how, there's a lot of employees here, how Walmart does business in Wyoming if this passed at all?
Absolutely. It would be a significant cost increase on every single one of our facilities here.
It would be. Okay.
It would be.
Does that get passed on to the, that might be above your pay grade, but does that get passed on to the consumers?
Well, certainly when you're talking about a significant increase like this, that can take shape in many forms, and I can't rule out that it wouldn't get passed on to customers, but it could also impact our ability to do remodels. Right. Our stores are constantly being remodeled for new technology, new services like the grocery pickup service that's just come to Cheyenne and several of our other stores, investing in our associates' wages, benefits, the technology within the stores, our grocery apps so that people can choose a time when they want to pick up their groceries. All of that are investments. And so while you may not see it, tangibly on a shelf, there's a lot that goes into delivering our promise to our customers. And we see thousands of Wyomingites every single day and are happy to have them come through our doors.
Grab your headphones. I got a call online for it. By the way, if you have any questions, 632-6500 is the phone number. This is Glenn who's on the phone.
Hey, Glenn. Good morning.
Morning.
Hey, I wanted to ask a question. For the corporate income tax, there's many states that have state income tax for all the people that are working, such as like Nebraska. And I go to Nebraska quite often, and I go to Walmart there, and the prices are the same as they are in Cheyenne. I think it's only fair that if a state was to have an income tax on their people, they should have a corporate income tax, because corporations also have their hand in the kitty when it comes to politics. And they also express their opinions and their views through lobbying and things like that, the same way citizens do. So I think it's fair, but I think, Wyoming really needs to look at how we've structured ourselves throughout all these years, where we have held that mantle of, hey, we're not going to tax corporations and these things like that, and let's not have the income tax on people, because a lot of us do believe that the money left in our hands is better spent to us than it is the government, and actually $1 of tax savings to a consumer turns into about $7 in your local economy. So, so I don't know which side of this I'm really on, but I can understand why they're looking at it, but I also wish they wouldn't look at it, if that makes sense. And I was just expressing my opinion, and you guys.
Well, let me follow up on something that you said there, because I've been kind of curious. Thanks for the call. So I'm wondering, what does Walmart pay? For those who are thinking or worried and hoping, well, Walmart's got to pay something, into the state of Wyoming's economy, tax-wise and so on. So what does Walmart pay?
We pay all the taxes that are on the books. So in every county that we operate in, we pay the property tax. Right. We also collect and remit about $30 million worth of sales taxes a year. We pay the unemployment tax. We pay particular product taxes. So everything that's on the books, we are payers of those taxes. And so, again, I think the caller just brought up a really important point, and that's the fairness issue. And really our concern and sort of gravity about this particular proposal is that it distorts the retail industry, and it's not applied fairly. If you look at corporate income taxes across the country, in every other state, they're applied to all industries, or all corporations register equally. Yeah. Exactly. But that's a different conversation. That's unfortunately not the conversation we're having about this particular bill.
Because you're big. In other words. Okay. And one before I get to this next call here. So people who will still say, oh, but you got to give something to the community. My argument would be, yeah, jobs and everything that you just said. But what about, doesn't Walmart dump a lot of donations in community service in?
Oh, thank you so much for bringing that up. We do. You know, our associates year after year, this last year marked 30 years of partnership with Children's Miracle Network. And we surpassed as a company the $1 billion donation mark for supporting Children's Miracle Network. Our stores throughout the state actively partner with Boys and Girls Clubs, with school groups, with Climb Wyoming, local food banks. We have a commitment over the last 10 years to fight hunger together, and we invite anyone to join us in that fight. But what that means is that every week our stores are donating several times a week, close dated meat, produce, milk, things that go directly to the tables of families in need. 100% support those things. And, you know, there's small things that our associates do every single day to take care of the people that come through their doors. And I could spend hours and days talking to you about that. So thanks for the question. Really appreciate it.
Grab your headphones again. This is Glenn, who's on the phone.
Hey, Glenn, this is Dave.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I agree with a lot of what your guest is saying, and I'm probably against the corporate income tax, but I'd like to ask her just a couple of quick questions. You're out of Bentonville, Arkansas, aren't you, Walmart?
Yes, Walmart as a company is headquartered in Bentonville, Arkansas. I happen to live in the Northwest.
Okay. Do you happen to know how many Walmarts and Sam's Clubs are in Arkansas?
Oh, gosh, you know what? I don't have that number right off the top of my head, but it is many times the number.
It's
Arkansas,
over 100. It's over 100, isn't it?
That's probably fair enough.
Yeah. Well, does Arkansas have a corporate income tax?
Arkansas's taxes operate a little bit differently, and so I don't have the exact corporate income tax pieces in front of me.
I just looked it up because I was kind of curious.
Sure.
They have a 6.5 corporate income tax for those making over $100,000 or something. So I'm assuming Walmart, being one of the biggest retailers in the world, are subject to the corporate income tax in Arkansas. And a corporate income tax didn't seem to stop the growth rate of Walmart in Arkansas. So why would it stop, Walmart's interest in doing business in Wyoming? And I agree with your point about the fairness, and then I'll let you answer the question. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. And thanks for the question, Dave. So I think really the difference, if you're looking at the proposal that's in front of the Wyoming Senate today, that's House Bill 220, it is different than any other corporate income tax in the country. And certainly there are a number of states where Walmart operates and there's a corporate income tax on the books. And we comply with that corporate income tax the same as we do with property taxes and anything else. But the discussion at the legislature this year is about a corporate income tax that targets retail over any other industry. And that is the important distinction here. And if a bill or policy creates that distortion where there's a competitive advantage awarded to one set of retailers or one set of companies, lodging or hotels or restaurants, and not others, that's where that calculus around where do investments go can become a differentiating factor. So I really want to hone in on that particular point, that this proposal creates that distortion and it awards winners and losers in the marketplace rather than treating everyone fairly, which is where we're at right now. Does that make sense? And I hope I've answered your question.
More with Debbie in just a moment. It's AM 650 KGAB. It's AM 650 KGAB Radio, 40 degrees and 28 mile an hour winds. Degrees by Wyoming standards. What are the winds like in your state, Debbie?
Much less than the miles per hour here in Wyoming, but I can say that along the Columbia River Gorge, we do get some pretty awesome winds for the folks that live out there. The thing that is most treacherous at the moment is the snowstorms that have come through. And I-84 is one of the major east-west highways, and it's had considerable ice and snow that are really impacting some of the freight traffic. So I feel for the folks that are dealing with that.
Did Walmart send you in to Wyoming just to take care of this issue?
Oh, no.
Okay.
My job is handling the government relationships at the state and local level. And so during the legislative session, I can be in any one of the 5 capitals I mentioned to you earlier in our conversation. But, you know, this bill is important, particularly as we've said a couple times. We as a company feel somewhat singled out. It certainly is a bill that is at the doorstep. And as a 30-year employer in the state, it's important to make sure that legislators understand the impact to our company and to the folks that we employ. And so it's important to be here as much as I can.
So now here again, it might be another question above your pay grade, but I'll give it a stab. So let's say the state of Wyoming, God help us all, decided to do a tax on all businesses that was equal.
Mm-hmm.
Would Walmart still be fighting it?
You know, that's a different conversation.
Okay.
And as we are at the table in a number of states around tax reform, we would be a collaborative partner to identify impacts as it relates to us, offer insights as to how other states work, and quite frankly, be delighted to have that.
This is Glenn, who's on the phone.
Hello, this is Mike. I just want to chime in real quick. I wanted to know at our Walmart distribution center, what percentage of Wyoming employees do you employ there? And then the other thing is, I think the legislature is looking at only changing it a little bit in the bill if things go right, that they only want to do corporate tax for those businesses that will not be associated in Wyoming. So that way you'll close your business in Arkansas and move your corporation here so you don't have to pay corporate tax.
I wouldn't be opposed to that, you know. You got about, I got to let you go real quick. You got about 30 seconds to answer that.
Hey, Mike, nice to hear you this morning. Thanks for calling in. I can share with you that most of the employees at any of our locations in the state are Wyomingites. In fact, because folks have joined our company outside of Wyoming, the fact that we have stores and distribution center here, it gives them a chance to move back. So thanks for the question and appreciate your time.